We have been taught intrinsically that we are not valuable as human beings, as we're flawed when we're born, and this has been ingrained in us for the longest time. Original sin in religion, right? You were born defected, and you had to be, you had to find your salvation through the church. We're not good enough in school. We're told that we're constantly not enough, not good enough, right? So we go on this journey in our life, or on this mission, trying to validate ourselves to everyone else and to ourselves. So we always are looking for that next thing external to us. We're looking for that promotion. We're looking for that new car, the new house, bigger salary. But that external driver, which we're all searching for, is the exact same thing, which is driving us off the cliff as a society right now, because we need to change, I believe, how we value ourselves, and realize that our self-worth comes from within us, and we don't need to search it externally to make us happy, right? External sources of happiness, that new job, that new gadget, that new toy, whatever it happens to be, is always short-lived, and we know this. We know this. When Apple comes up with a new iPhone, all of a sudden the one I have is crap and I need to get a new one, right? We know that this is happening. So what's that drive? What's this continual motivation to always go for something new and novel when we're born complete, when we have everything that we need as a human being right now? We have that with us, but we feel like we have to keep reaching and striving for something outside of us.
Yeah, and I just thought I had Amanda Fielding in here, she's one of the people that through the Beckley Foundation funds a lot of Professor David Nutt's research on psilocybin and on LSD. And so she said that, a government is the reflection of the ego. And so if you look at the government doing all these things, the war on drugs, all of these things, it is a reflection of our ego as a collective. And whether it's insecure or not knowing itself or not comfortable with its interior self and looking for those external things, looking for more money, more power, It is really a reflection of us. And it's interesting, if you guys are trying to start from within with everybody to kind of make these bigger changes, I think that's super powerful. I guess that's probably what we're doing here as well.
I'd agree.
And it reminds me of one other thing from the movie we just released with Dorian Yates, and then very near the end of the movie, and I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it, and you can watch it on our website, but near the end of the movie, we have a clip from him sitting in that chair from 2.5 years ago when we had an interview with him, about 2 years ago. And he said, everyone's asking me what I'm going to do as Dorian Yates. And he said, and everyone said, are you going to open a couple hundred gyms and all that? And he's like, and I might do that. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be changing myself. I'm going to be looking on how I can evolve. I'm going to be looking on how I can learn. I want to look how I can become a better person. And like when Dorian says that in this movie, you're just like, man, it just makes you think about like, what can we be doing inside ourselves, as opposed to this outside ourselves.
Well, he's a quintessential example of, that alpha male embodied. And this guy was 6-time world champion bodybuilder, probably doing a little vitamin S on the side. I almost guaranteed that he was, right?
We talked about it.
Chasing this perfect body. And now you see him and he's doing yoga. This guy who was just like packing on muscle in the gym, and he's now breathing and doing yoga and shifting his entire perspective. Now, if you can think about that, the most hardcore bodybuilder maybe ever has now gone this other path. It doesn't seem too much different from a football player going into a more spiritual lifestyle.
Yeah, it sounds just like you.
Yeah,
except he was bigger, slightly bigger. At one point.
He's a big guy.
But yeah, it's funny you say alpha male, and I just never think of Dorian as alpha male. I'm like, I don't even know what that word means, but because I guess I know him now as this kind of transformed guy. And actually, the more you look at him and learn his story, you realize that the Mr. Olympia was just kind of a means to an end. For him, it was a way of escaping his reality. And he looked at his body almost like a project, and we talk about this in the movie. Mm-hmm. So he built it up, but his body for him was never a compensation for an insecurity or anything like that. It was just like this project, and by doing it, by going to where the pain was in his head and doing all of these strict diets and all these things, he got himself out of where he was to kind of an international place and fame. And now he's kind of transformed into this guy. After going tunnel vision on an obsessive goal, an egoic goal for so long, he's now kind of recovered from that 10 years on, and he's now transforming at a rapid rate. And it's weird because there's the picture on the wall right there. You can see Dorian, and he's got this short hair, and he's still kind of a little white. And like you said, he looks sickly. And then right next to it, if you're ever in London Real Studios, there's a picture of him, and he looks like Ernest Hemingway. Mm. And like he's transforming in front of our eyes. And it shows you how powerful this stuff is. if you really look at yourself.
For sure. Like personal development courses, again, all those modalities, personal development, meditation, float tanks, psychedelics, all of those things. What you guys are doing at London Real, what are you really doing? You're evolving people. You're improving them. You're helping them get unstuck from their lives and getting their lives moving in the right direction. And that's what we need more of. We need more of getting people out of a victim mentality, getting people out of the I'm not good enough, to empowering people to go do what's really calling for them, what's really calling them. And I feel like that's what you guys are doing through your courses. And again, there's different ways people can go about it, right? Of that self-empowerment. But the more of that we have, as people, the better. I mean, look at the personal development industry in North America. It's huge. It's huge now. And you're seeing life coaches spring up on every corner now. And you can say what you want about that, but at the same time, it's all moving people in a very good direction. So I think it's all very relevant, and you can do it online like you're doing, or in person with your with the meetup. You don't do meetups, you do
we
focus groups.
Focus groups and graduations.
Right. And we're doing a very similar thing to what you guys are doing. We started off with the online platform, and now we have the local meetups that are going on. We're building that tribe and that community. And I see us moving into that direction of, okay, how do we get people from that stuck place into a place of empowerment and getting what they want out of their lives?
Continue watching this fascinating conversation for free by clicking on the link below to visit our website, learn from the best minds in the world, and connect with a community of passionate people building the best versions of themselves. Just click on the link below, and I'll see you on the inside.